make sure you grab different color spray paints, different size thread edges, and everyday household items like cups or lids. My name is Arturo Lopez, and I created Spraycasso Studios back in 1999. I have then continued to show people diverse ways of creating master paintings in just a few minutes using nothing more than just spray paints and everyday household items. The beauty of this art is that you don't have to have a steady hand or know how to draw. All it requires is a little bit of imagination and some dedication. So join us, and you too can become a Spraycasso master. I will walk you through diverse techniques of creating beginner level paintings, intermediate level paintings and techniques, advanced level paintings, and we'll take your skills even further to master level paintings. So if you guys are ready to embark into a new art adventure, then grab your spray paints and materials. Let's get started. Hey guys, so Spraycasso here. I just got commissioned to do a mural, and I usually don't do this, but it so happened that one of the guys that asked me to do the mural, his son is a big Halo fan. Well, shoot, I couldn't say no to that. So it's Saturday morning, it's probably about noon, and they took me to their house, showed me where they wanted the mural to be painted. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm a little lost. All these houses look the same to me. Anywho, bear with me, and I hope you guys like this new tutorial. It's gonna be definitely unique, as you guys haven't seen me do a tutorial before. So, oh, I think I see the house. We are no longer lost. There it is. Yeah, don't mind the windshield. It's a little dirty. By little, I mean a lot. Alright. Alright, crew, so as I was telling you, I already met with the family, and we have all the materials ready. The room is being cleared off. So I hope you guys are ready for this, huh? What do you say we go knock? For this job, we're not going to do anything too different. We're going to use the same tools that you guys have seen me use before in the past. We're going to definitely use the straight edge. Jehovah's Witness, here to save your soul. We're going to use magazine sheets. We're going to use regular spray paints. Go on in. And that's the man right there. Alright, how you doing, Kenny?
Pretty good, how are you?
And we're ready to begin. As you guys see, the wall's already taped off. We're using painter's tape. The good thing about painter's tape is that it is not very strong, so when you remove it, it's not going to leave any marks on your wall. However, this has proven to be a bit of a bad thing for me in the past when I've done murals, because the tape is not strong enough to stay on the wall for very long. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to go ahead and just mark the outline of the painting. Now it's gonna take several layers, especially to get the desired effect that I'm looking for here, which will be a space-like scenery. So I'm gonna require quite a bit of spray paint. For this project, I got 4 cans of black gloss, 4 cans of white gloss as well, 2 red, 2 blue, 2 orange, 2 yellow, and 2 cans of clear coat, which will be added at the end, just protecting the paint. And so it is very important that you mark the edges, as I've mentioned earlier. In case the tape falls down, you don't have to worry about, I didn't mark it good enough, it doesn't look quite clean. So I always start from the top, work your way down. See guys, you mess with me, I tag your house. That's how I roll. Well, so see, yeah? That shows that I'm going to have to spray paint dark enough to cover the tagging I just did there. And as you can tell, it's going to take more than just one coat. See? It's going to take several tries, so make sure you get plenty of spray paints, plenty of materials. I also got 2, maybe 3 magazines with me. 3 sea sponge, very big, and 2 bags of sea sponges, or excuse me, foam brushes. So make sure you get plenty of materials. Now what we're going to be doing here, now that I've done quite a bit of black, now this still requires for me to go back and add maybe another 2 layers of black just to get it nice and dark. But I'm gonna go ahead and start trying to blend in some blue into the black. Now this is gonna be for the effect of a nebula that I'm gonna try to work in here, kind of like a cloud effect. You guys have seen me do this in a lot of my other tutorials. Now that I got the blue down, and this is probably just 1 layer, you don't want it to be very black. I also want some of that white from the wall to stand out. I'm just using a little bit of black, and I'm fading the black into the blue. And I'm going to take this opportunity to just make sure I go around the edges one more time and try and cover some of those empty spots that I might have missed. Alright, now here we're going to start working on our sunburst. So I'm going to use some orange. I'm going to not really concentrate too much about blending the orange into the blue. I'm going to use red to do that. I also know that I'm going to use yellow, so I'm keeping that in mind. Now see here, I'm using the red. And as I blend the red into the blue, you're going to get a little bit of purple. That's fine, guys. Now, red blends well into blue, and it blends really, really well into orange. So, this will give us the effect that I'm looking for. It may take, again, a couple layers to do this. And more than likely, I'm going to use blue to blend back into the red, just so we get a nice little transition going on. It's not quite the same, guys, when you're doing this in a bigger scale than it is on poster board. And I can tell you right about now, I'm really wishing I had some poster board. Alright, guys. So what we're doing here is we've created the sky, and we still got to do a few things to it. But now we're going to be working on this outline, and this is going to be just the background outline. As you can tell, it's we're using the silhouette technique on it, and we're going to go and add highlights afterwards. But for now, we're just going to come on in like this. And just make yourself a nice little outline on this landscape. Let me show you the rest of the painting so you guys can see what I'm talking about. See, we have our sky right up there, and then it blends in. There's this little blue hue to it. We went ahead and added some stars right there. There's also stars throughout the entire painting. There's a few comets. Right now the light's hitting it, so you can't quite see it very clearly. We got the sunburst. We need to add some yellow on this area and just blend it in. Alright, now this is taking a look at it from a different angle. And you can see, again, there's the 2 stars. There's one right there, one over there. Comet here, here. You can see the little stars throughout the entire painting. Again, there's that blue hue. Here we do a little transition, so you can see a little bit of that purple where the red and the blue started to mix, which is good. We want that. We have a little red outline and then some orange. All we're missing now is using a little bit of yellow, doing a sunburst, and then just kind of have it diminish all the way through. Little bit of white, and then again we have our landscape here on the bottom, which we're going to go back and add some highlights to it. And then we got about, I'd say maybe about 3 feet, almost 4 down here. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm just going to go ahead and cover, maybe even out the field here a little bit more. See how uneven it is? Just going to go ahead and even it out. This is definitely a silhouette technique, right? Silhouette meaning there's no highlights, it's just black. Now this is pretty cool, guys. You guys have seen me use my spray castle funnel on quite a few paintings. Well, you can use it as well on murals. Works a little bit different. Now notice how I have a sea sponge there at the bottom to catch some of the dripping paint, but you can create trees, branches, and it works really well. Now it looks like it's cutting off there a little bit only because of the texture of the wall, which is no problem. You can always go back and make it a little bit darker. Keep in mind that I am going to be using the sea sponge there at the bottom that's catching the drips to make the leaves on some of these trees, as well as the grass and whatever bushes maybe. Right, I'm just going to use a little bit of black and blue, and with a sponge brush and mix that a little bit, and we're going to create that little structure on the background. It's not quite a halo, it's just kind of like a broken down structure down here. Alright, add one piece of it, and we want to give the effect that you don't see the entire structure, so we'll add the other piece over here somewhere. Nice. See how easy that was? Using the same brush, the same colors, everything, you're just gonna step over here and add a little bit of texture to this. Now see, this makes it not a silhouette anymore because you can actually see some of the texture, some of the light reflecting off of it. Remember that silhouette's just completely black. Here on this portion, I went and added some more details. You can tell there's an airplane on the top. I think it's called a Phantom, I can't remember. A tank, and as you can see, that's how you create the burst of light, like it's firing. Just a little bit of red, yellow. You can see a warthog there in between the structure. It's a vehicle, kind of like a Jeep, and you can see the lights. This was done using the foam brush, guys. Now we're going to go on top and add a little bit of yellow to create the sunburst. And again, guys, by a little bit, I mean a lot. I think I used probably about a can and a half. Right? And so it's going to take a few layers. Don't give up on it. As you can see, the picture is a little bit darker, and that's because it's nighttime. And very cold, if I may add. We have 2 windows open for ventilation. And it's been cold lately here in Carlsbad. Alright, now with a little bit of white and green, I'm just going to create... I wanted to give it the effect of a rough terrain. Kind of like, not quite the Grand Canyon, but just a little rough terrain here that's kind of broken down. And as you can see, I'm just doing it using the foam brush. It's not too hard at all, guys. And then I'm just going to blend it in, just a little bit of black there at the bottom. But I want those peaks to really stand out. That's why I'm using green and white. So you get this light green. Now see, here's where I fade it in. It's not completely black, I'm letting some of the mist fade it in. Awesome. Alright. Now, we're going to create a tree. And I am not going to use this percussive funnel for creating a tree this big. It would take a long time. So, I'm going to use a little bit of black. Go up and down a few times. Get the shape of the tree that you're looking for. We are going to make this tree not a silhouette tree. There's going to be texture. And I'll show you how to do that. And I'm keeping my can closed. The further you keep it away, it gives it more of a fading effect. And I really want that tree to have a dark outline. Again, guys, I'm sure missing an 11 by 14 poster board. I'm using an entire sea sponge to create the trees. And the tree leaves, I mean. I am going to use highlights as well. So after I use... I think this is using a little bit of green and black, so you get this dark green effect. I also have some white on there, and that's going to give me the highlights later on. Now I'm using the Picasso funnel here to create the tree texture, and I'll show you what that's going to look like later on as we progress with our painting. This is going to take a little bit of training to do, guys, because it's not the same using this Picasso funnel on a flat, laying down flat poster board as it is standing up. Alright, crew, this is day number 2, and I am using the the foam brush quite a bit. As you can tell, I've created two characters. I'm creating another cliff here on the right side. The characters were just outlined, and then using a little bit of spray paint, bounced off some straight edges, you know, created the effect of the glow on the sword and the shiny helmet. But it was mostly used creating the brush. You see how the tape is falling apart there right by my hand? That's exactly why I wanted to do the edges first. Alright, now we're going to use a little bit of green here. Just like that, just to give it the effect that there's light coming from the back. So I'm going to use green, and then I'm going to fade that with some black. So use a little bit of black, and let's fade that in. Alright, as you guys can tell, there's a lot more plant life also in the background, and I'll show you how to create that. You already know how to create the trunks, right? You use the Picasso funnel to create. You don't have to create pine trees. I'm just creating different trees. Keep in mind this is a sci-fi painting, so the trees can look however you want them to look, guys. And I'm spraying directly onto the sponge to get this effect. See that? And you may want to add some grass as well. And it's not much different from the trees, except you just tap and smear up. Remember that the more detail you add, the more realistic your painting will look. The more attractive too. So just make sure you add plenty of trees. Make it look kind of scruffy, you know. And if you want to make your trees look fuller, thicker, first make sure you get a nice outline of what your trees are going to look like, just like I'm doing here. Alright, get a nice outline going on, and then you can go back and without the sponge just spray directly onto the trees with a little bit of black or green. This will give you a nice effect. Yeah, I like that. Keep in mind that we're going to come back and add highlights as well. I can't stress out enough, guys, how important highlights are. I mean, they're what really make your painting stand out, especially when it comes to making it look realistic. If you take a look at our character there to our left, you can see his armor is brighter where the sword is. The tree has brighter colors around it where the sword is. That sword is not quite a lightsaber, but it's made out of light somehow, probably plasma based. You can see that little aircraft that's on the background. It also has a highlight. So keep in mind, guys, where the light is coming from. Most people will spot it almost instantly if you make a planet and put the sun behind it rather than in front of it, depending where you have your shadow. So keep that in mind, guys. With silhouette paintings, you don't have to worry about too much where the light is coming from. You just make sure you make a pretty bright, colorful background, and anything that you want the main objective to be, you use black. So it'll be completely black. You don't have to worry about highlights. You don't have to worry about where the light's coming from. Remember I was telling you about this earlier, guys, to make your trees look thicker. Just a little bit of black. You can just fill them in. You know, you still have some of that texture. See, so you don't lose the texture. It just makes it look like there's more of it. So practice that, guys. Make sure you know where your nozzle is pointing. Really took a chance there that I didn't spray paint the other side, the clean side of the wall. So that just gives you something else to think about, right? Yeah, you guys have probably seen my work on bridges, side of train cargo boxes. It's a disease, guys. It really is. I can't see an empty spot without me wanting to tag it. But I don't think my friend will be too mad. We'll cover it up. I think at this time I have one more can of spray left. This one's running out. So as you can tell, we went through all those cans. It was 4 black. We went through, I think, 2 white. So it's very important you have enough materials. Using the sea sponge here, I'm just going to create some plant life in the background. And it's important that when you do a river, guys, make sure you add some plant life going into the river. You know, plants need water, and I promise you, go down to the river, you'll see some sort of plants. Not quite growing out of the river here, but if it's pretty shallow, you'll see that it does look like this. So just adding silhouette, plants. There's not really any highlight to it. You could add highlight, just like that. See, and it just makes it more colorful, more realistic, pleasant to the eye. Just like that. Maybe a little bit here. It's up to you guys. It's your imagination. Okay. And this is using, I believe it was blue and white, so it gives us a really light blue. You could use just white, but I think the blue adds to the mood that I was trying to portray here with this painting, a little sci-fi mood. I know we didn't get to show you guys how I created that little display there, or the helmet, or the characters, but they were all done using just the sponge brush. You know, nothing too hard. You could use stencils, but trying to make stencils for something this big would take a very long time. I added another ship there flying right next to it, and that's what we have, guys. Look at that. Well, I hope you guys liked today's tutorial. Stay with me as I am working on a few more. And until next time, folks, keep those cans spraying.